Welcome to part 3 of this Home Nations Football Manager 2016 experiment, where we're seeing if the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland and England can dominate world football. If you haven't watched the first 2 parts, I'd recommend you go and check them out first so you know what has happened so far up to this point. We're now in the year 2051 and all the nations are doing pretty well. We've seen Scotland win the World Cup and the Republic of Ireland win the World Cup as well. So those 2 nations are doing particularly well. I've also got a point system which is on Excel, and you can see at the moment England are just about ahead because they've been consistently the best team despite not winning a tournament. I don't know if that means my point system is slightly flawed in regards to maybe there should be more points for the winner of the World Cup. We've got 10 points for the winner of the World Cup, 7 points for runners-up. England have been runners-up a few times. But I think that's fair. Getting to a final of the World Cup still deserves recognition, and there is a 3-point difference there. It's just England have been more consistent. Now, in the last part, a couple of you suggested something really good, actually. You suggested applying my point system to the Nordic experiment, which was the last experiment I did. If you haven't watched that, go and check that out as well, because that was really fascinating. We saw Iceland win 4 World Cups. If we just look here, you can see Iceland did very, very well winning 4 World Cups. However, the overall point system ended up being Norway coming out on top, with Finland and Denmark joint second, Iceland 4th, despite winning the most World Cups, Sweden 5th, and then Faroe Islands with only 12 points because they only qualified for a couple of tournaments. Now, the reason why this has happened, even though Norway only won a World Cup, they didn't even win the Euros, you can see here, but the fact is they won 10 international leagues, so many more than any other nation. They completely dominated that tournament compared to the other Nordic nations. And also they came out in top spot with winning the World Player of the Year awards and did really well, World Golden Ball as well. Denmark also did well, so they got lots of points for that. Whereas Iceland didn't win as many awards for that. So that is why Norway's come out on top, down to the European International League. So perhaps I have slightly overpowered certain aspects. I don't know. I think this is a fair way of scoring the points. It's just Norway were more consistent across lots of different tournaments. And it's really interesting that Norway actually won the Nordic experiment in regards to this point system. I know some of you will probably say Iceland was the best team. They won 4 World Cups, which was incredible. Finland also did particularly well. So getting back to the home nations, be interested to see if any of these nations can actually get more points than Norway. There's still a long way to go in this. So at the end of part 2, I did leave you hanging a little bit because I showed you the 2049 Confederations Cup finals between Scotland and Germany, and Scotland came out on top again. They've won another Confederations Cup. Brilliant achievement from them. You can see here they won it 2-1 in the final. It took place in LA. A really good 2-1 win. Grant Mitchell with another goal. He's a fantastic player on this. 58 goals in 52 games for Scotland, this guy has. Liam Graham with the other goal. He's got 67 goals in 97 games for Scotland. Scotland have produced some incredible players. Quite incredibly though, USA were the winners of the 2050 World Cup without any implementation on my behalf. They've won the World Cup. Now remember, I did the Cold War experiment, and we couldn't get USA or Russia to do particularly well in that experiment, and I had an influence over that. I boosted them. I gave them money. I did everything in my power to try and make them win the World Cup, but they didn't. But without any help whatsoever, USA have won the World Cup on this. It's just the way it sometimes happens on Football Manager. They were hosting it as well, so perhaps they had some sort of advantage there. Republic of Ireland finished 3rd though, so well done to Ireland and getting another 3rd place. If we just have a look at the groups, you can say USA actually qualified in 2nd place out of their group. Wales knocked out in Group B. Scotland won their group, 6 points. Northern Ireland qualified as well with 6 points, well done to them. Ireland and England qualified from the same group with 7 points. And I always miss out Wales, don't I? And then look back, oh, Wales are there. What am I'm such an idiot. Wales are there. So did they all qualify? Wales, Scotland. Yeah, they did. Then in the second round, Northern Ireland lost against Scotland. So that's a clash. Scotland coming out on top again. No one really said I should do the head-to-head points thing in part 2, so I'm not going to for now. We could perhaps do it at a later date. Perhaps some of you guys can work it out for me when I upload the saves at the end. I'll probably upload the final save at the end of this series, so you can have a look at everything in a bit more detail. Republic of Ireland beat Chile 3-0. Really good win for Ireland to get through to the quarterfinals. England crashed out against Holland though. Then in the quarterfinal, Scotland lost against the eventual winners. Ireland beat Belgium though, 2-0. So they went on to Aidan Hanlon, the legend that is Aidan Hanlon, who, remember, moved for about £3.8 thousand to Manchester City. He's now 32 years old, 34 goals in 124 games for this legendary player. Actually just was World Golden Ball runner-up recently. We'll have a look at the World Golden Ball at the end. He's already won one, remember. And then in the semi-final, they lost against USA, who went on to win it, remember. Third place playoff, Ireland beat Spain 1-0. Dean Burke with the winning goal. 31-year-old striker, 11 goals in 33 games. He's 31, he hasn't picked up that many caps, but I'm guessing it's because of the strength in depth that Ireland actually have. And then in the final, USA beat Holland 1-0. England have finally won something. They've won the Euro 2052 tournament. They beat Ireland in the final. Ireland have been a bit unlucky here. Third in the World Cup now, second place in the Euros. But England have finally picked up a trophy. It's taken a bit of time. They've been runners-up a few times. So let's look at the group stages in a bit more detail. Wales qualified in second place. We saw Northern Ireland qualify in second place. England went through top spot. Scotland went through top spot. And Ireland went through in second place as well. So everyone qualifying once again. Then in the second round, Northern Ireland beat Bosnia 3-1. England beat Serbia 3-0. And Scotland beat Croatia 3-2. Cracking game there. And Ireland got one over on Wales. They took on each other, and Ireland won on penalties. Wales just aren't quite getting to that top level at the moment. England absolutely mullered Northern Ireland 4-0 in the quarter-final, and Scotland lost against France, and Ireland went through on penalties against Switzerland. Penalties for the second game in a row. Then in the semi-final, Ireland beat France 2-0, and we saw England win 1-0. Then in the final, it was very close. England managed to win 1-0. James Stanton with the winning goal. But you can see that formation, 4-3-3, got really going for it up front there. Very different formation to Ireland. Let's just have a look at the English winning team then. They've got Calvin Phillips in charge. They're first in the world rankings, as you can see here. And this is the team. The best player at the team is Eddie Harris. 29 years old, 187 current ability, plays for Chelsea. Looks like an exceptional defender. I mean, there's some very good players in this team and lots of potential there as well. Lots of players haven't reached that potential. I mean, they had the potential to be top quality players, but they didn't actually quite manage to get there, as is the way quite often. Now, someone did ask me to look at the history of the managers of each nation. So we'll start with England, and I'll just go through them all quickly now. So you can see here, since Roy Hodgson, there's been Koeman, there's been Seedorf, there's been Oscar Garcia. There's going to be some regens in there as well, I suppose. Ante Coric is in there. Is this guy real? I think so. And obviously Calvin Phillips is real as well. Ireland 6th in the world rankings. Have they had a Portuguese guy in charge previously? Aidan Hanlon is still their top player, but Pat Glynn, remember him? He also won World Player of the Year. What a player he is. Plays for Chelsea. 142 caps and 83 goals for this guy. He's not actually... I mean, his current ability, 179. Had 180 potential. Let's just look at the history of the managers then. And they've had quite a few managers since Martin O'Neill. We've had Chris Hughton, Remy Gard, remember him? Prenderville. Is he real? Can't actually click on him. He's retired, I think. Paco Yemes, Bruno Paulista, Robin Van Persie is retired now, but he was in charge of Ireland for 2 years. And Ivo Pinto has been here for the last 5 years. Northern Ireland currently have a regen in charge. They're 16th in the world rankings. This is their top player, David Burns. Quite often the top player listed here is more about the reputation rather than their actual ability, I find. But looking at the managers, they've not had many managers. They've only had 5, in fact. Michael O'Neill was in charge until 2019. Then Brendan Rodgers was in charge for 9 years. We saw Gary Hamilton in charge after that. And then James Swift. And then Chris Gibson is the current manager and has been there for the last few years. And he's won the European International League twice, I think, with them. Yes, 2047 and 2049. Moving on to Scotland, who are 8th in the world rankings, doing really, really well on this. They've got a Dane in charge. Their top player plays for PSG, Steve Wilson. Classic, simple name, Steve Wilson. 110 caps for Scotland. He's a central midfielder. And manager-wise, they have had quite a few managers. Gordon Strachan, Mark McGee, Alex McLeish back in charge, Malky Mackay, Callum Davidson, Craig McElsmith, we saw him in charge, remember. He was very successful, managed to win the World Cup twice, I think. I might be wrong. He definitely won it once in 2034. He won, I mean, he was an incredible manager, Craig McElsmith. Retired at the age of 54, though, quite early on. And then we saw Ian Cathro, Cole Donaldson, he won the World Cup. He's a regen manager who's also retired at the age of 44. Then we saw Kevin De Bruyne in charge. He's still a manager at the age of 62. He managed to win the Confederations Cup with Scotland. And now at the moment, for the last almost 3 years, we've had Carsten Goldhammer, who is also a regen. And lastly, Wales, who are currently 27th in the world rankings. They've got 63-year-old Kevin Strootman in charge at the moment. And you can see here, Chris Coleman left in 2017. We had Kenny Jackett, then Moulenstein, then Solskjaer, who managed to win 2 international leagues with Wales. Then we had Ricardo Carvalho, Ronnie Taylor, Valon Bayrami, who was there for 5 years, Hugo Lloris for 4 years, and for the last 3 years we've had Kevin Strootman in charge of Wales. Their top player plays for Arsenal, Adam Jones. Pretty good player, 10 goals in 61 games for the defensive midfielder. So, Denmark are world champions. This is really interesting because obviously in the Nordic experiment we saw these nations win the World Cup multiple times. But how ironic is it that I did a Cold War experiment where I improved America and Russia, and we've seen USA win it in this experiment, but they didn't win it in that. And now in this experiment we've seen Denmark also win the World Cup without me influencing them at all. It's really bizarre, but I guess you get these teams that just randomly get golden generations on Football Manager sometimes. Unfortunately, we didn't see any of the home nations in the top 3 this time around, so a bit of a disappointing tournament for them. Let's look at the group stages then. We did see Northern Ireland qualify from Group B. Scotland, top of their group, winning every single game once again. England also qualifying in top spot. Ireland qualifying in top spot. But I bet there's Wales here and I just missed them. I don't think Wales are here. Wales, just a bit disappointing at the moment, and I don't know why. Second round, we saw Northern Ireland crash out to Germany. Scotland beat Serbia on penalties, and England beat Argentina 1-0. Ireland, though, absolutely mullered by Italy 4-0. Denmark beat the current holders, USA, to get through to the quarter-final, where we saw Scotland lose on penalties to Denmark. Very, very close. And England, what a game. 6-4. It's one of those crazy Football Manager games where you just want to chuck your computer out the window. I love that they've got something called Barry up front, but that is harsh. That is very harsh. So we didn't see any of our nations get through to the semi-finals, and then in the final, Denmark won on penalties. They just scraped through, didn't they? I am so happy for Wales. They've won something. They beat Ukraine in the final of the 2056 Euros. Fantastic achievement for the Welsh. They've just come from nowhere. They were doing nothing up to this point. They've won a couple of international leagues, of course, but since then they've done absolutely nothing, and they've finally done something. You can see here Northern Ireland got through their group in top spot. Ireland got through in top spot. England and Scotland went through from Group D. Wales actually went through in second place in this, but they went on to win it. Second round, we saw Scotland win on penalties against France. Ireland beat Croatia 2-0. Northern Ireland lose against Ukraine. Wales beat Holland 2-1. Can't see that for some reason. And England win in extra time against Belgium. Then in the quarter-final stage, Wales beat Ireland 2-0. Scotland beat Italy 2-0. And England went out to Germany on penalties. That was predictable. And Wales then beat Scotland 1-0 in the semi-final before winning the final on extra time 1-0 against Ukraine. We can see this. Michael Kingdom with the winning goal in the 92nd minute in extra time. Let's watch this. History being made for the Welsh. It's just a simple long ball up to Kingdom and slammed it home. What a name. Imagine being called Kingdom. So there we go. I've holidayed to 2060, and as you can see here, Northern Ireland are in a semi-final. They're going to be taking on Belgium if they can get through to the final. So that's something to look forward to. I'll holiday one more year. I don't know why I holiday to 2060. But anyway, it does mean I can look at the World Cup as well. The 2058 World Cup was won by Argentina. So none of our home nations have managed to feature in the top 3 for 2 World Cups in a row now, which is a little bit disappointing. As you can see here, though, Northern Ireland once again qualifying really well from their group. We also saw Scotland qualify in second place, and Wales and Ireland qualify from Group H. I don't think England qualified this time, so that is good news for the others because it means they can catch up by picking up a few points in this competition. In the second round, Northern Ireland crashed out again, unfortunately. Scotland were beaten by Argentina. Wales went through an extra time, beating Brazil 2-1. Nigel Cretaro with the 2 goals to send them through. That was a really interesting extra time, actually. This guy looks good. 48 goals in 78 games for Ireland. You can see here, they took the lead in the 92nd minute, then Andre Luiz, and then they managed to get a winner in the 108th minute. Wales also, brilliant win, absolutely thrashed Holland 4-1. Wayne Edwards with 2 goals, 72 goals in 105 games for Wales. What a player he is. And Luke Hughes with the other, 38 goals in 59 games for Wales. We'll have a look at Wales in a second, in fact, just to look at this impressive generation of players that they've got. Quarter-final stage, unfortunately both of them went out though against Spain and Argentina respectively. And then Argentina and Spain faced off in the final, where Argentina came out on top. We just have a quick look at Wales though, who won the Euros in 2056. They're second in the world rankings, doing really well at the moment. They've gone up about 20 odd places since we last looked at them. They've now got Alex Hall in charge. Is this the same guy as previously? No, they had Kevin Strootman in charge, didn't they? But they've got a Welsh guy in charge now, who actually is a Welsh legend. 140 caps for... Oh, I remember him now. Alex Hall, yeah. And I think they've got a pretty good team. Let's look at them. They must have a good team. I mean, it's good. It's not amazing. Their best player is Daniel Evans with 177 current ability, who plays for Manchester City, moved for 24.5 million recently from Norwich. And then they've got a guy with really good potential, 180. He's 22. He could actually reach that because he's 173 current ability at the moment. Philip Ewan plays for Stoke, 4 goals in 29 caps for Wales, and he's been around a lot. I mean, St Johnstone originally signed him for 30.5k, but Stoke have signed him for 5.5 million from St Mirren. So just look at the youth team. I'm interested to see if there's any promising youngsters coming through the ranks. There is a guy of 189 potential, Hugh Thomas, plays for Shrewsbury. And then the under-19s, oh, there's not really anyone. Maybe the future isn't that bright for Wales, but it's good that they've managed to win a Euros. That's very important for their points. Oh, Northern Ireland, so unlucky in the 2060 Euros. They lost against Belgium in the final. They did actually get through to the final at least. But Northern Ireland, so close. We've seen Scotland win it. We've seen England and Wales win this tournament. But Northern Ireland and Ireland haven't managed to win the Euros yet. Doesn't really matter for Ireland though. They'd have won the World Cup. I really wanted to see Northern Ireland do well because they've produced some good players. They've always seemed to do well qualifying from their group. We saw England qualify as well from their group, Wales qualify from their group, Ireland qualify from their group in top spot, and Scotland also top of Group F. Belgium went through in second place, but they went on to win it. It always seems to be the way. Of course, in real life, Portugal finished in third place and went on to win it. Northern Ireland then beat Holland 2-0 in the second round. We saw England lose against France, Scotland beat Sweden 3-1, Wales beat Ireland on penalties. And then in the quarter-final stage, Northern Ireland beat Germany 2-0. Really good win there. Scotland lost a cracking game 4-3 against Denmark. But look at this, 7-4. France versus Wales. Really unlucky for Wales. Wayne Edwards with a hat-trick, but couldn't help his team beat France. 7-4, that's ridiculous. Then in the semi-final, what a win for Northern Ireland. They thrashed Denmark 5-1. Richard Shields with a hat-trick. Looks pretty good. Plays for Liverpool. 14 goals in 27 games for him. What a game. What a win for Northern Ireland. Belgium scraped through on penalties. And then in the final, Northern Ireland it was too much for them. Belgium beat them 2-0. But really good achievement for Northern Ireland getting through to a final. They're 7th in the world rankings. They've got this guy, Gary McDermott, a regen in charge. Man management's a bit weak. In fact, he doesn't look the best manager in the world, does he? But you don't always have the best managers in charge of international teams. The Dansk Bank Premiership is actually doing really well, reputation-wise, by the way. Let's look at the team then. Their best player is Stephen McLean, who plays for Valencia. He's an attacking fullback. 85 caps for Northern Ireland. Moved to Valencia on a free, actually moved to Man City originally for 2.9k. These Northern Irish teams are getting ripped off and it's a disgrace. But he did leave Man City in the end on a free. The next best player is actually Tom Gage, who plays for Millwall, who are in the Premier League, remember. Moved there for 8 million from Glentoran, and they didn't get that ripped off, although he is worth £47.5 million now. What is up with that hair? Look, it doesn't really... There's a bit of baldness at the back. Has he shaved the back of his head? That's really weird. Most capped player, though, is Owen Young, central midfielder. 32 years old, looks about 14 though. Are there any youth prospects? Wow, there is! There's someone with 200 potential. I don't think we've seen someone with 200 potential before. This guy could be the greatest player ever, although he's 20 years old and he's only got 143 current ability at this moment in time. So, the chances of him... Can he reach... I don't think he's going to reach 200. He's at Celtic. He's only got 2 caps for Northern Ireland. He actually signed for Celtic for £3,000. He's been on loan to West Ham, but he's not really had the best career yet, and maybe Celtic are ruining him because he's got 200 potential. Do something with him, Celtic. Come on. But you're going to ruin him at this rate. And then Jim Butler also has 189 potential. Maybe he'll go a bit further actually because he's 18 years old and he's already at 130 current ability. And then looking at the under-19s, there's a few decent players, but there's nothing like, it really frustrates me when players just, they've got potential and they just don't reach it. But I guess it happens in real life all the time. England have won the 2062 World Cup. I think it's going this way where England are going to end up winning this, points-wise, because they've been runners-up a few times. They've now won 2 tournaments. And like I said at the start, I just feel England are a little bit overpowered, and despite the fact they've improved all these other nations, they're just not able to stop the might of England from winning things and doing really well in tournaments. They haven't qualified for every single World Cup though, interestingly, but they did win this one. So Ireland qualified from Group B, Wales qualified top of Group C. Northern Ireland unfortunately didn't qualify this time, that's a rarity for them, and England qualified winning every single game, getting 9 points. Scotland bottom of their group as well, so not so very good for them either. Then Ireland beat Senegal 4-2 in the second round, Wales beat Spain 1-0, and England beat Denmark 2-0. And in the quarter-final stage, England beat Tunisia 3-0, and Wales crashed out against Argentina, and Ireland crashed out to France on penalties. England the only team left. They then beat France 2-1, and then in the final they beat USA, who have already won a World Cup on this, 2-0 in the final. So Fogden and Matthew Dunn with the winning goals. 68 goals in 100 games for England. Exceptional player, 33 years old now. And they're second in the world rankings with an Israeli in charge, bit random. Had a few managers since Calvin Phillips already, but this guy, Roy Itach, has already won the World Cup and, sneak preview, 2 international leagues as well. I'm actually going to end part 3 here today. I don't want the videos to be too long, and we are going to look at other things in a bit more detail now. International League. So this is the International League. You can see since the last video, we see Northern Ireland win it twice in a row. I can't actually remember. I believe we did because I've got on my spreadsheet they've won it 3 times. So since 2049 we've seen Scotland win it once, they've been runners up once, and England have won it twice. So that's quite a few points for England there. I want to see who's in the top division actually. So Division A. So there's 4 divisions in the International League, and there's relegation and promotion. So you can see England, Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales are in the top division, but Republic of Ireland aren't. So when you win your group, you get through to the semi-final. So England and Scotland got through to the semi-final, as did Wales, in fact. So if you look here, semi-final of the whole thing, England beat Wales and Italy beat Scotland, and then you've got the final where England beat Italy. But there's also other groups as well. They don't go through to any semi-finals or finals, they go up and down. So there's relegation and promotion. Ireland have just been promoted to Group A, so we're going to have all of them in Group A next time round, which is good to see. The Confederations Cup, since 2049, we saw Scotland win it of course, but England have also won it and Wales have also won it. So 3 different nations in this part have managed to win the Confederations Cup. Out of interest, we're just going to have a look at the Champions League. This is incredible. Millwall have won the Champions League in this experiment. We didn't even boost Millwall's finances or anything, remember. I boosted everyone in In fact, I didn't boost anyone in England, and Millwall have gone on to win the Champions League. Chelsea have also won it 3 times. That's why a lot of these players are now playing for Millwall, I guess. It's really interesting, isn't it? How these things just happen in Football Manager sometimes. They've got one of the best Northern Irish players, one of the best English players. It's quite incredible, really. I don't think they've won the league. No. Aston Villa have won the league. Millwall were runners-up this time round. Millwall have been 3rd and 2nd place quite often, but Stoke have been dominant. Chelsea have come back into it, and recently Arsenal have come back into it. But Aston Villa have won the league as well. The Euro Cup has also been won by Millwall. We've seen Arsenal win it, Southampton, Man City. So this is the reason why I'm not giving any points to Euro Cup and Champions League, because England has an unfair advantage over this. Someone from Scotland said, "I really want you to give points for the the Euro Cup because Celtic sometimes win it." But why would you want that? Because if I did that, it would give Scotland less of a chance of winning this overall, because England will get so many points from the Euro Cup and Champions League. I just feel it's unfair to give points for that, so I'm not going to do it, I've decided. Well, Player of the Year then. The most recent one was won by an Englishman. Let's go back to 2049 though, and we'll go up and see if there's any more winners. But I don't think there are. I think we've only seen an Englishman win it this time around. He also finished 2nd as well. Ed Fogden, who scored one of the goals in, was it the World Cup final? World Golden Ball, similar story. Ed Fogden winning it. Don't think there's anyone else that has featured. We saw Aidan Hanlon finish 2nd place in 2050. But unfortunately, only an Englishman has managed to win it this time round in the last few years. If you just look at the competition reputation, you can see Premier League out on top, Scotland still in 7th place with the Ladbrokes Premiership, Northern Ireland up in 11th, and the Republic of Ireland in 20th. They've gone down 1 place though. And Wales, where are they? I think Wales is the league that's least likely to climb, simply because their best teams play in the English leagues. So they are, have I gone past them? I may have done, but they may have just dropped off. It'd be easier just to look. Yeah, it's really dropped off. Suddenly it's dropped down to 138th. Don't really know why. However, in terms of the rankings, European rankings, I think this is, so England are 2nd in the world, Wales are 3rd in the world, so it's not really affected their national team having a bad league. They're actually doing really well at the moment. Nation coefficients, you can see here. Nation club coefficients. Qualification places, you can see if this is qualification places for European tournaments, of course. These are the richest clubs in the world, dominated by English clubs, as you would expect. Don't know if there's any of our home nation clubs in here. Is Scotland in there anywhere? Let's go down. Oh, Celtic, there you go, 111 million. But I think that's it. And Hearts, 92 million. I mean, the Ladbrokes Premiership is doing well, 3.5 stars, and Rangers have actually come back into it, interestingly, as you can see there. Coming from nowhere and doing really, really well. Celtic have dropped off, but they have managed to win 3 titles in the last few years. So Celtic are coming back into it. Rangers had a very good period, dropped off. We saw Hearts dominate with Celtic finishing 2nd many times, and now Rangers managed to win the league again. It's interesting what's happening in Scotland, actually. It's great that Rangers came back into it and have added a bit more competition, but it's a bit more open. We've got Hearts winning it. We've had Aberdeen win it. We've had Dundee win it as well. So, good stuff. So thank you for watching part 3 of this Home Nations experiment. I hope you're enjoying it. There's lots of things going on. I'm now going to do the point system before I end this experiment. But if you can hit the like button right now, that would be much appreciated. So these are the points at the end of part 3 of this experiment. England's still out in the lead. They've actually increased their lead a bit in this part. 26 points ahead of Scotland. So England on 127 points, Scotland on 101. Then 3rd place to 5th place is actually quite close. Ireland on 77, Wales on 69 thanks to winning the Euros, and Northern Ireland on 63. If we look at it in a bit more detail, we can see England, Republic of Ireland and Scotland have won the World Cup. Scotland have won it twice. So you could argue maybe Scotland have been the most successful team, but with the point system, England have been a bit more consistent. Wales have never got past the quarter-final stage, unfortunately, at the World Cup. And the Republic of Ireland, the only team not to get knocked out at the group stage when they do actually make it to a World Cup. So that's a very good achievement. Northern Ireland have been very unlucky, finishing in the second round 7 times. They have been runners up once, but that second round stage is just a bit difficult for them at the moment. Then in the European Championships, we've seen England, Scotland and Wales win it so far. The Irish nations need to try and catch up with them. England have been the most consistent. They've never been knocked out in the group stage. They've got through to 4 quarterfinals and 4 semi-finals as well. Northern Ireland can't seem to get past the quarterfinal very easily. They have been runners up once though, as have Ireland. Ireland seem to struggle in the second round of this tournament. International League, England won it 4 times, Northern Ireland have won it 3 times. Ireland haven't won it yet, and they haven't even been runners up, but they've managed to get promoted to the top division now. And we've seen Scotland and Wales win it twice each as well. England and Wales have won the Confederations Cup once each, but Scotland seem to be dominating this competition with 3 wins. World Golden Ball and World Player of the Year. We're not producing that many players compared to the last experiment. We saw lots of Danes and lots of Norwegians in particular winning this competition. But England have won each. Ireland have actually been the most successful with this, winning it twice each, and Scotland, the other nation, to win it once each. Northern Ireland and Wales, we need you to produce some world-class players. It's going well. We've still got 40 odd years to go. So in part 4, we'll be going another 15 years or so. But can Scotland overtake England? We shall find out. Thanks for watching today's part. I will see you in part 4.